Hi, welcome to this presentation on the AcePos point of sales system. There are three main versions of the AcePos system: Basic, Standard, and Professional. This presentation is on the basic version, which is the most simple and easy to use version with the basic functions of managing your sales bills issue and stock quantity balance. This system is meant to be used on a standalone basis as a single terminal in the retail business. This system is also upgradable to the higher versions in the future.
So let's go into the actual system. First, the system will ask for a user password. The one with the highest authority is named admin, and it's given a special password, and this particular person can create multiple users for the system using different password. System will then extract the latest computer date and time. If it's correct, just click OK. If it's not correct, go to change it under the change today's date option. There's something option here. It's called change today's date if it is not correct. This is now the main menu where all the items and options that you have inside the system will be displayed. Now first we have the maintenance section. This is where you set up all the various different types of codes for credit card, e-wallet for example, how you analyze your sales by item, maintain your stock items, delete stock range when you don't need, change stock settings by range, additional barcode for items, and maybe create account numbers for suppliers. Then we have the posting section. This is where you actually do the issue of bills, update stock purchases and bills. Then this is the reporting section where all the reports on this system is. And finally, we have the other section where we have setups. We can configure the system in different way, how it works and so on. This is under the other section. And finally, we have the exit button. So first, let's look at maintenance. Inside here, you can create different types of credit card. If you're using credit card, for example, so you have credit card, say like if you're using Masters and Visa, if you're going to accept this sort of payment, you create the cards inside here. Okay. Now, if you are using e-wallet, you can create different type of e-wallets that you use here. So this is just for you to create what type of payment you accept in this particular AcePos system. Now, the second one is analysis type. There are three types here: product category, department, product category, and group. So under department, for example, this is how you can analyze your product that you sell in your store. This is basically for sales analysis by item. So for example, in this case, I've got audio and video. So let's say this is a shop that sells audio and video stuff. And then we can have automated coding as well. If you set this, for example, any product that I create under audio, system automatically give you a product code that starts with A. So if you are doing, for example, second one category, here I have got brand 1, brand 2 example. I can use this to represent brand, and then I can have different code when I create the brand. Then I can have the third one, group. If I have some group, I can create, for example, under brand, I may have, for example, type of a type, for example, say type 1. So I can say type 1 can have what type of code. So maybe type 1 also start with, for example, 1 as a code. So that become a automated coding for creation of stock items. Now once you have finished entering the analysis type, you need to create the stock codes. For every item that you sell in the store, you need to create it with a code. Here you enter the cost password. It's a hidden password. If you don't want people to know your cost, you hide it with a password. You don't let them know the password. So here you can either add or change. Let's say I want to add a new stock item. So first I choose which department it belongs to. Example, audio. What brand is it? I choose the brand. Now in this example, I'm not using any category, or you can use a category, for example, type 1. And then the code automatically comes out. Okay, so what is the description? So this could be, for example, audio product, type brand 1, say type 1, for example, classification. Okay, there are 3 lines of description here. Is it sold by per piece? And here you need to put in the e-invoice class. For e-invoice, every product has to be a certain class. So whether you are a computer, child, or audio, or whatever, you have to choose. Okay, goods on consignment. You see there are different categories provided by the income tax department. You have to follow. So if you are not sure which figure, we can use others, 022. Okay, what's your last cost for this product? Say it's 15 ringgit, and how much I'm selling it for 25. And then whether you want to control stock balance. Now, some items you may not need to control stock balance. For example, labor charges or repair charges. So these are items that you do billing. You still have to create a code for it, but you cannot control a balance because it doesn't have stock balance. So for those items that you don't control stock balance, just remove this tick. For items that you control stock balance that actually have, you can enter this. And then what's the minimum quantity you need to keep in stock? So there is a report for you to reorder. You see, when you find that it's below the minimum, your auto will tell you. Now, whether this item is subject to service charge, if it's yes, take it. If it's not, untick. And then what is the tax code? Now, this tax for the moment is not being used. If later on the government push back into the GST, then you have to put in some tax code. So for right now, you can put as zero rated. For example, purchase is zero rated, so it's under ZP, and then you add. That's how you create a new stock item. There are two more options here. Delete stock range. In case some of the stock range that you created is wrong, you can actually specify what is the stock range that you have found that is wrong and you want to delete. You can just delete in a whole range. Okay, this is for this purpose. Now you also can change stock description. For example, certain type of items you want to change, say specifically say choose certain items, for example this to this, and you want to change some of the contents inside here, whether they can give discount or whether to change their tax code and so on. You can change by a whole range. This is what this option is for. Now you have additional barcode. Some items you may have different barcode, although the original code is this, but you can actually add on because some of the package may have some new sort. For example, this one has a say new barcode of 12345, for example. You can actually do this and add it. So in other words, when you scan the barcode 1235, you also represent the same item as A1001 here. So that's the purpose of having additional barcodes. So next we go to the posting section here. Now if you're buying stocks, for example, the first thing is before you do sales, you have to do your purchases. Enter your cost code. If you want to print a journal on what you post, you put inside what is the purchase, is it receipt, what is the date you're purchasing, which supplier are you buying from, and what is the bill number. Okay, what is the product you're buying? For example, it can be this, say like this item that you bought. How many have you bought? Say 20 pieces. At what cost? So this is like purchases. All right, what are the items that you have that you buy? All right, so for example, just now I have this new item created. I bought 100 pieces of this at 100 ringgit. How much it costs, and so on. So this is how you do purchases. So when you sell, the system will actually automatically deduct the balance. But when you purchase, you have to post in all these entries into your system so that you will update the stock balance from here. Now, if it's a purchase return because it's wrong, you want to return, you do a purchase return, it's just do the opposite. That's all. So if you can see that you wanted a journal, you can keep a journal of all your posting for counter checking purposes. Okay, now let's go to the most important function that is for issuing bill. We go into post operation. How much cash do you push in for changes? So which is printed and activation slip, and this cash is supposed to put into your cash drawer. Then you do a sale. So if you know the code, you scan the barcode because you can use a scanner. If you do not know, you can do a search. You see there are a lot of search options here. Search by barcode, additional barcode, or search by stock code, description, or product category. So it makes very easy for you to use. And there are other functions like checking what's the current cash balance on hand, how to cancel a bill, reprint a bill, and also check item prices. So let's say we are searching for a particular item. You can say, let's say that I'm selling this item. You just press item. The default quantity is always 1. Now if you scan a barcode, you can also come up by itself. You see, actually if you're scanning a barcode, or you can type for example, let's say for example, you can see here, let's say these are audio product like just now. Okay, now if you do not know, you can actually just type any description and press and enter. Anything that match the description, system will show up. So total, press the total button here, or you click the total button here. How much you pay? You can pay by cash, pay by credit card. So if I'm paying by cash, I key in the cash amount. How much is the cash amount that I'm paying? For example, it's giving 200, and then press the F9 button, and the bill will be printed. This will be the bill. Items are listed, how much is shown, how much is payment, how you pay by cash. This bill will be printed up. And then you have option whether in case the printing is jam up, you can say reprint bill, yes or no. If it's no, then it goes on to the next transaction. So let's do another bill. Okay, this item we sold. Now if you sell more than one quantity, let's say you buy two, you can say 2 piece times, and then you scan your barcode. See, the quantity will become 2. So go for payment. You say you pay by credit card. Remember earlier you set up all the credit cards you have, or even e-wallet, it will all appear here. So let's say you pay by Touch and Go e-wallet. How much is the amount? If there's any card or approval code, you can type. If it's not, total up, bill comes out, shows that it's paid by Touch and Go, for example, in this case. Reprint bill, no. So let's say we are doing another bill here, this particular item, then I have another item, and then we found that one item scan is wrong or customer doesn't want. How do I delete the item? You go up to the item, for example, this is a 1, you press your delete button. Now you will ask you for a password to know whether you are authorized to do cancellation or not. Now you can, in this system, you can set who can do cancellation, and you give them a password. So if the person is authorized, enter a correct password, then the item will be deleted. That's how you delete item within a bill. So total up, let's say you pay exact amount, just touch this, bill is printed. Now how do you cancel the entire bill? There's an option, remember, under here there's a pop-up, there's a cancellation of bill. Let's say a bill was wrong. You can do again. Do you have authority to cancel bill? Yes. Then you select which bill do you want to cancel. So let's say you want to cancel this bill, enter, system will show the bill. Is this the bill you want to cancel? If you click yes, since you're authorized to do that, system will print out a cancellation bill, which is a reverse, that is negative value. And this will reverse back the sales and also add back the stock quantity, because each time you issue a bill, the quantity balance will be reduced by the system. Now we also have other functions inside here. For example, you want to reprint the bill. Again, are you authorized to reprint? If yes, choose the bill that you want to reprint. For example, this is the bill you want to reprint, and the system will reprint the bill, but there will be a note that says that this is a duplicated bill, it's been reprinted, so that we know that this is not the original bill, it's a reprint copy. You can also check what is your current balance cash in hand. It will show you your current balance cash in hand that you are supposed to have in the cash drawer. Now let's say, for example, a customer walked in front up to the cashier, and then she bought some items. Okay, and then there's another item. Then suddenly you say, I remember I wanted to add some item. Now you want to serve the next customer first, you can actually hold the bill first. All right, this is called hold bill. You press the hold bill, push it to the side, and then you go on to serve the next customer. So let's say the next customer is one that bought this, and then so we serve the next customer, total up, paid by actual cash. Then this customer is served, then the customer came back, the one that previously sold, then you can actually recall back the bill. Press a button, this is the bill that you want to recall. You see the bill will come again, and then you can add on the item that she wanted to add on. She wanted to add this item, for example. Alright, so go so PayPal, pay by, let's say, credit card, enter the amount, what is the last 4 digits of the card. Now we can also link this machine directly to a credit card machine, depending on who supplied the credit card machine to you, because only certain people who supply the bank through the banks, we can actually communicate this system directly to the credit card machine itself, instead of you entering the amount and manual card numbers. Now you notice that inside here there's also a discount column. That the system does not stop in the discount column. For example, I type this and I serve the product, you go straight through, right? Now actually you can switch this on. The system is configurable to ask, this is called an item discount. We can actually configure the system to stop at item discount on every line, so that you can enter every discount. Or let's say you did not set it on, and suddenly a particular person asks for a particular discount for one item and you're willing to give, you can also still do this. You have a special code, for example, 10% discount you want to give, and then based on which item you scan the barcode. Okay, See, the system will ask you, are you authorized to give discount? Yes. And then this discount, this password you set in, we actually set it where you can authorize up to how many maximum, how many percent, or how much value you can actually do that. So although I did not switch on the discount, configure the system to stop at the discount every time for particular item, you can actually do this. And if you authorize, you see the discount will be given and calculated. So this feature is also inside there. Now, if you're giving discount for a second item, for example, and you're giving, say, 1 ringgit, so you can actually do this 1 and then times, it's not percentage, and then followed by the scan the product code. See, you become a 1 ringgit. Then, as usual, you will total up the bill. Let's say you pay by cash, 50 cash, the bill will be printed. So this feature is useful when you want to give discount on specific item. And on the bill, notice that it's printed here, discount 10%. You can set it to print or not to print. Now, what happens should the customer ask you for e-invoice? Now, this system already have e-invoice feature. So all you will do is, for that customer who asks you for e-invoice, you go to a pop-up. You can see there's a request for e-invoice inside here. Press number 11. Enter, and then enter the invoice number that was originally given to a customer. You say, I want an invoice. So let's say it is invoice number 42. Now the system will reprint the invoice with a QR code. So ask the customers to go back and scan this QR code and enter their personal details, and the system will auto submit the invoice for them. So later on they can scan this again and download the invoice themselves. Okay, so customers scan this QR code, and then you bring them to a website. They have to key in their information. So if they are company, they put in BRN, business registration number. If there's individual, key in their IC number. Okay, must be a valid IC number, or if it's a BRN, it must be a registered actual business registration number. Then type in the address, the city, postcode. These are the information that is required for the e-invoice. And then select which state it belong to. There are already preset states. Then the phone number and the email address. Once that is filled in, just click on submit. Now on the next day, the customer can scan the QR code again, and this time system will tell them that the e-invoice is ready. If it's successfully submitted, all details entered correct, then they can download and see the invoice. They can scan this new QR code, which will bring them to the income tax server to show the actual e-invoice submitted. Now, if the customer says he cannot download the e-invoice himself and he comes back to your shop to ask for e-invoice, you can actually do this. Under the pop-up, there is a print e-invoice. You can actually use this option, which is number 12. Then enter the invoice number. For example, it's 42 in this case. You see, you can actually print this e-invoice for him as well. Now he can take this invoice, he can actually use his phone and scan this QR code on this invoice. This will direct him straight to the income tax server to see what are the details of the invoice that has been submitted on his behalf. At the end of the session, you come out of the system, show the exit. Now, are you authorized to exit? Because sometimes you can set a manager code so that the cashier cannot go out by herself. Manager enter or the cashiers enter. Total amount cash is given. This is printed out. Now the cashier will have to tally to make sure that the amount that she collected, whether it's credit card or whatever you see is in the list, will tally. She has to count the cash. Any short or whatever depends on management decision, whether she has to reimburse or whatever. It's up to you. So the cards that's being used is listed. The e-wallets being used is listed. Any unpaid bill, in case there's any whole bill, is also listed. And then any cancellation is specially listed so that we know who did cancellation for the day, you see. So all these details are inside this deactivation report. Now at the end of the month, you have to submit a consolidated e-invoice. What is this consolidated e-invoice? For example, you issued 1,000 invoices in this month, out of which 100 of the customers have asked for their own e-invoice. That means 100 of the invoices have been submitted individually for the customer. So the balance of the 900 invoices, you need to consolidate it and submit it as a single invoice to the income tax server. So this function is done here automatically you just click on e-invoice consolidation, select the month that you want, and then you click start, and that's it. The system will auto gather the 900 invoices into a single invoice and do a submission for you automatically. Okay, based on this, let's go into the reports. Every day you get a daily sales report by payment type. For example, if I'm just listing for today, you can see all the payment type, how much collection was done by card, cash, and e-wallet. If you have daily sales by product, it will show you the product that was sold. See, individual product that was sold, how much of percentage of contribution towards the sales, which are the items that is being sold. You have a very detailed analysis. Now, this particular report can be automatically emailed to you on a daily basis when and the cashier exits the system, so that you are kept in the know about what's your sales at a particular end of the day. It can be automatically emailed to you. Now, second report is post-transaction report. This one shows you the detail of every bill that was issued. Every bill, what was bill number, what time was issued, what date was issued, what are items sold, how was it paid. Now, if you have entered the cost password, it also tells you the profitability for every bill. How much money do you make out of every bill? So this is for audit purposes. You want to check back every bill that has been issued for the day or by a range of date. You can select range of date here. The next report is payment analysis. This is actually analysis that says you want to analyze how much cash you reported, you collected, CAD, e-wallet, or all. And then you can specify the range of date. For example, if I just want to know this month, you can actually do this, and then you can preview. The report will be full report in detail, bill by bill, how was it paid by cash and card. This is again for you to check, counter check your cash collected and your card charge and so on. So this is analysis by payment types. Then we have cashier's collection. Who were the cashier who were on duty on specific days? Okay, it can be in detail or summary. So let's say you look at the detailed report, you can see it'll tell you this cashier was on duty on that day, how much cash, card, and e-wallet was collected, and what's the total sales value that was collected. So this is collection by cashier. If it's by summary, it is more simple. Just a summary. Cash, credit card. I mean, it doesn't show the detail of the bill. So all these are for counter checking purposes. Okay, we come to the most important report, management reports. Management reports, management sales. If you can enter your password, of course, you can see your profit as well. Now there are different levels here, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So for example, if you detail level 1, you can see your sales purely by department. That's level 1. That means you're on the highest level of analysis, sales analysis. You don't want to know detail below it. So this is called department sales. You can see your total sales, your total discount given, what's your next sales. Since you enter the cost password, it also shows you the cost and it shows you the profit by department. So from here you can clearly see which department, the way you categorize your stock item, you can see under each department how much money did you actually make, how much profit, gross profit, right? Then if it's level 2, it drills down one more level. Remember, we have department and product category. So you will go lower down under audio, brand 1 and 2. How much do you sell and so on? What's your cost and profit from the individual category? If you drill down to level 3, for example, you remember we have one more called group. You will go down one more level. Group, for example, under department, audio, brand 1, under type 1, how many items were sold? You see? So you can actually see your profitability by individual type of department. Now, if you really want to go very detailed, go to level 4. Then you can see even the individual item that was sold under each department, product category, and group. So you know your profitability by item. Which items are bringing you the most profit for your company? Percentage of contributions on the side here. You can see 48%, 45%. What is the contribution in terms of profit percentage? Now level 5, it is more on a daily basis. That means Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, and so on. What's your sales by those days, cost and profit on days. So this gives you an indication what is your business coming through on which days business is more. So we have other reports like cancellation report. Okay, we want to know who cancelled what. So this is for you to track in case cashiers are simply cancellating, but then again you have control the password, but you want to analyze who canceled what, how much money was cancelled, because cancellation reduces the cash in hand, so you want to track this. So this is for purpose of tracking the cancellation for the day. You can select also same thing for discount. This is track who gave discount, who was authorized the discount during, authorized by whom, who was the cashier at that time, and on what date and time, what was the bill. Then you have, if you have service tax, if you have, then you can print a service tax report. If you don't have, then this tax has no records at all. Now there is also an additional report under e-invoice submission, which shows you a summary of all the invoices that you have submitted for the month. You can select whichever month, and actually the system will show you which are the invoices that you submitted successfully, and if it's not successful, what are the reasons. So for example, you can see here these two invoices is pending submission, and this particular one has been submitted successfully. It's written there with the invoice number. Alright, so all the reasons why it is not submitted, if it's not possible because of wrong information, it will be listed here. So this report is for you to audit in case submission failed. What is the reason? What are the reasons that it failed? Now this AcePos system will help you track your stock. That's very important, because while you are selling, you will deduct the stock. While you're purchasing, you punch in the purchases, it will tell you how much is the, you will add on the stock item. So when you sell, you reduce. So finally, you actually have a range of all stock reports. So first one is a stock index report. This one just show you the list of items that you have in stock, codes that you've created, individual item. Okay, so these are details of the item of the stock. So if you have say 1000 items, you need to have 1000 codes to be created inside the system, so it can help you track every single item. So that's stock report. Analysis table is just a table. Remember, when you created all that, you just analyze what are the table they have, what kind of department you have, what sort of product category you have. So this is just a report on how you actually created your analytical codes. Then stock balance, very important. This is where the system will actually auto deduct the stock. You can choose range of department, product category, and group. You can choose what items you want to check on. Okay, whether you want to print 0 item value as well, or don't print. And then you want to print whether average cost, because this system is based on first in, first out. That means when the first cost comes in, the first deduction will minus those costs first, followed by second. So you can actually want to know how is your average cost. So you can see there's a stock balance report. Now this is very important. As you sell your items, system actually automatically deduct the stock for you. So in this way, you actually know your stock balance report. Then you have stock sales analysis, very important, because you can see your profitability by sales based on item. Now all the report can be printed or preview, right? Print means you print your printer lah. It's preview, you print your printer. You preview, you just see on screen. So you can see, you see, all these are stock, which item, what was the month MTD is month to date, YTD year to date. So what's your month to date sales? What's your year to date sales? How much of the total sales? And because I entered the cost password, what's your total cost? And actually, what's your profit by individual item? This is already summarized up for you, individual item. You can print this report, select a range by month or whichever range of date as well. See, this is by month. You can select for last year, this year, and so on. You can actually select all this. And you can print by ranking. For example, you say, hey, I want to rank it by sales order. For example, I want by quantity or by month to date. What is based on quantity or based on sales value? If I say based on sales value, what do I want? I want, for example, I want the top, say 5 items, my most saleable items. You can actually preview, and the system will just list out the top sales of the 5 items that you selected. Okay, in descending order lah, top sales lah. Okay, sales value, you see, for example, 200 came first, 250, 74, 70, and so on, reducing order lah. So you can see you have few thousand items, you want to know your top 100 items, saleable items, this report can give you straight away, you see, in this format. Now you also have stock transaction. These are all checking, just to check, counter check whether stock transaction. I want to list out, for example, all transaction, or I need to list out only sales issue, sales return, purchase receipt, for example. Okay, and then you can choose the range of date, which period do you want to know my purchases, for example, this month. You can actually do, these are all for auditing and checking purposes. Okay, so these are all the transactions that you posted, so it actually will show you where are you posting. So in case you find that some posting are wrong, whatever, you can list out your use this transaction report to check. Now you also have stock ledger. Stock ledger is you can choose by items. That means a particular item, for example these two items, I want to see what was the how was the movement like. So it actually shows you. Ledger means each stock item, what was the opening stock, what were the purchases, what were the sales, so finally what's the last balance quantity you have. So this is like ledger, a ledger for every single item. So just now I choose two, so you see first item, second item, it shows all the transaction, the movement of the item itself, in and out, in and out. Now you also have an important report called the reorder report. Now if you have set for every single item during the stock maintenance option, you set in what is the minimum stock level that you should keep. Now this system will auto check for you which are the items that has the balance quantity has fall below the quantity that you set as minimum stock quantity. So for example, in this case, you see two items came out. That means you set your minimum order quantity is 40, for example this item 1, all right, but now your current balance is 14, so you're already short by 26. So it's informing you these are items that you need to reorder from your supplier already. Second item, for example, you said 50, but now your balance is 18, so you're short by 32. So this report pulls out those items that has fall below the minimum that you set that you should have in stock, so informing you that you should reorder this particular item. This is called the stock reorder report. So this will help you to manage your stock properly, because once they are short, you may lose out on sales. When the customer comes in and asks for certain stock, you don't have the stock, you see. Now you can also print barcode labels actually from the system, because we can link this to a barcode printer and actually print, or we can print on laser printer. We have special form on a laser printer, for example, right, that we have got A4 paper. You see, we can actually pre-cut this already. You can actually do your own sticker. So let's say you repack some of your items. Of course, a lot of those items already have barcode, but those that you don't have, you can actually use this and convert it into barcode, print it onto an A4 paper, which we can supply, those stationery, and then you can peel the sticker and stick it onto your product as barcode, so that when you sell, you use a scanner, it becomes very much faster. Okay, the last report, suppliers report. We can actually have a report by all the suppliers. Since you're doing all the purchases, we have all the supplier lists inside here as well in the system. Now under the other section, we have actually stuff like administrative tools, which you use to set up system. That means how you want the system to work. Like for example, is it automatic stock creation by the system, reporting, you can choose which printer, any business time starting if you're not running 24 hours, your cost and profit, change your cost pattern. These are all the system configuration. That means we can make the system work the way in certain way to fit your business model. See, so the printing setup, which printer do you set up to, and so on. These are, and then auto report. For example, I mentioned earlier, you can actually send out the sales for you via email. At the end of the day, when the system exit, you can actually send, and then who are the people you want to send to, you can actually set up the emails here. So the system, when you exit, automatically send out the daily sales report to your email, which you can actually put on your handphone as well. See, so these are all set up. Now you can also use this to export certain information, for example, stock master transaction or post transaction, into Excel acceptable format. That means when during the export, for example, they ask you what range of date you want to export. Let's say now I'm exporting, and then he asks you what is a file name that you want to put it. For example, let's say I'm exporting stock master. Then you can select which item you export. You can tick all, or you can tick don't tick all. You can say I only want product category, department, group, stock code, and then maybe the description 1, 2, 3. These are the items that you want to say. What is the selling price? You want to export this, or what's the balance quantity, into a format which Excel can accept. You can actually do this, okay, and then your system will export, and then you can use Excel to open the file, and you have it. So this is like exporting data information into a format that Excel can accept. Okay, one last thing under the others administrative tools, system setup. Under system setup, we need to set up this information in regards to the e-invoicing function. Your company's name, your
tax number, your company's tax number, your business registration number, and then SST, tourism, what's the industry are you in. This one, there's a list provided by income tax, you see. So you have to find out what is the industry they are in, and then key in the industry code, then who to email to in case of anything, and so on. And then there's something called a test server, and there's something called a real actual server. So while you are doing all your testing and invoicing, we will use a test server. When you're ready to start, we will switch it to the actual server, which is given inside here, all these settings. So these are settings that is important for your e-invoicing submission. That's how the system knows where to submit automatically based on all this information that you key in. Now for tax number, we can even validate it to make sure that your tax number you key in is correct. It'll tell you whether it's valid or not invalid. So these are the things that we need to set purely for the purpose of e-invoicing. So basically, that is the entire presentation on the AcePos basic system.